Happy Friday. Welcome to the 3 Things I Learned, Saas Sports Tech and Lab Events, February 18th, 2022. First, culture can't be forced. It has to be built naturally. A lot of businesses haven't learned this. We just saw it on an international stage last weekend. So last weekend we watched the Los Angeles Rams win the Super Bowl in their new $5 billion home. Now the Rams moved here a number of years ago and they've invested a significant amount of money in the community, both at the youth level and with fans, trying to build a passion that's going to create a community. It's going to create something people want to be a part of. Unfortunately, they were drowned out by Bengals fans this week, and 2 weeks ago, they were drowned out by 49ers fans who are taken to calling SoFi Stadium Levi's South. For those who don't know, the 49ers play in Levi's Stadium up north. I learned this lesson on a smaller level last weekend. I was watching my daughter play volleyball, and there are some parents that are a little aggressive, and the coach had a word with them after the match that the daughter shouldn't be looking at them, that they should be looking at each other, that they should come together in a circle and trust one another, especially when something goes wrong. He then threatened to bench any girls who were looking at their parents during the match. Now, I understand what he's trying to do, and I understand what the Rams are trying to do, but that's why culture is so important. It is only natural. A naturally built culture where you don't force people to try to trust each other and you don't try to force people to like each other, but you naturally bring people together who have the same goals, who have the same vision. You're going to see a force that's so much more powerful and so much less controllable than you could ever imagine. As we've said here in the past, if you're the steward of the culture of a great business, you don't get to participate in it, and honestly, you really can't do a whole lot to change it. All you can do is protect it. That's number 1. Number 2 is a quote from Jim Ross, old JR. For those of you who don't watch wrestling, Jim Ross has been the voice of wrestling for 40 years now, 20 years of the WWE, where he was the head of talent. And he said, and I quote, "The most successful wrestlers I've ever worked with are the ones whose characters are the most authentically and organically extensions of who they really are." Over the summer, we ran a pretty large RFP as we were looking at new bankers and financiers. One after another came in looking the same, sounding the same, saying the same things. All of them talking about a commoditized product with no real differentiation between them. The ones that were the most effective were the most authentic, the ones who could add something to it. We shared that when we talked about our first RFP win. I think there's a lot of wisdom in what we see when life imitates art between the WWE and life. Be authentic in what you're doing, be authentic as a leader, and be authentic even when you're out selling. You'll be surprised, you will stand out, and possibly land those deals. That's number 2. And finally, number 3 from a tweet I really enjoyed earlier this week. The better you get, the more boring your business can seem. There is so much truth here. When you're fighting your way through the jungle, it is unpredictable, it's terrifying, it's constantly changing, it's very stressful, but it's also really exciting. And you get used to that excitement and all that excitement every day as you're involved in nearly everything in the business. As it scales and you add good people, it can feel a little boring. Now, it's not boring, it's just a different feeling. This is where we have to focus, where we can put systems in place that can give us outsized returns because we're starting to see real traction and convert the business into something that can scale even faster. You know, we all take the talent we get from our experience for granted. It's an experience that we've had. Hopefully, we can avoid that problem as we move from the jungle to the dirt road. That's it for this week. We hope everybody tunes in next week for the 3 Things.